And today is May 11th, 2018, and it's midday and the markets are still open. So what has happened this week? Well, we found out that the FBI hit a mole in the Trump campaign. Oh my. And if you search for Stormy Daniels on Google, are you searching for porn? The CBO says that as of 2020, over one half of all personal income taxes will be required to service the national debt, which will be about $700 billion. Now, that is not the total debt, that's simply the interest on the debt. And Elon Musk has nearly completed his 2.7-mile tunnel in LA, and he's going to give free rides. So now you don't need to go to Disneyland. Did the markets just break out? Oh, and I almost forgot. There is less than 10 days to the royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What a week! Let's take a look at the markets. And here we are with the 20-year monthly chart on the spiders. And as we can see here, the recent activity is above the 20 EMA. And it looks like we will bottom here and may have a breakout. We'll take a look at that breakout in the 6-month chart here shortly. But we've came down, we've gone sideways. And so now I expect perhaps to head on up. And that would be a reflection off of that 20 EMA. And when I talk about a reflection, I also mean in the price chart as well as in the oscillators. And you can see in the MACD, the fast line has moved toward the slow line, but it's reflecting off of that, or perhaps will reflect off that. So we'll see something like this going sideways and then head on up. Not all that dissimilar to this formation here. But that's where some problems can occur in this recovery period as we're heading on up. So we'll take a look at that shortly. MACD histogram heading on down hasn't started to reflect up, but probably will, given that the momentum does show that we have a reflection here. And as well, the price rate of change looks like its fast line is slowly bending here, moving on down the fast line below the slow line. So it's a little bit dangerous territory. I would expect possibly some sawtoothing, as we can see here. So that's where some problems can occur. Relative strength, relatively weak, did have a pretty sharp decline and then a sharp move on up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Stochastic, same sort of thing. Into the volume pickup was mostly red, so that's not great, but we've known that. That's been a couple of weeks ago now. Into the Williams bottomed above the midline and reflecting on back up here. So one quick check back with the price chart. And so now let's go to the 6-month daily chart. All right, so I changed my mind. Instead of the 6-month, we're looking at the 2-year weekly. And looking at the chart here, we have a nice dish occurring here. And now we're starting to head on up. And I think the weekly is where we can see most of the strength in the indice right now. Looking at the MACD, we definitely have hit bottom, and it looks like it's heading on up to the slow line. I would imagine that to cross through perhaps here next week, maybe the week after. But it looks like we've hit bottom and we're heading on up. So that's showing good strength, as well as in the histogram here. Several weeks of improvement. And into the momentum indicator, bottomed here at the -20. We are now at the midline or zero line, heading back down a little bit, but that's okay. Into the price rate of change, we've headed sideways here. I want the fast line to move through the slow line on the price rate of change, as well as on the MACD. These are two of my favorite indicators, and if we can do that, then we'll have a lot more strength. I think it's going to show a lot more strength. The relative strength itself has gone pretty much sideways, and this is also a fairly decent oscillator indicating relative strength here. It didn't drop very low, and it's been hugging that midline here, so I like that. Going down here into the stochastics, the fast line here has moved through the slow line, so I like that too. Again, this is another one of my favorite indicators. Definitely bottoming here, and looks like it's going to head on up. Volume, we've seen that before, and then the Williams definitely too showed a bottom at this point and a strong move here for the last several weeks. So I think at least in the S&P, your strength is shown in some of these oscillators, and so that's why I have the belief that we will continue strengthening here. So okay, now let's go to the 6-month. And finally here we're at the 6-month daily chart on the spiders. And we first looked at this a long time ago and thought we were going to have a W formation where it started out. And it attempted, but we kind of broke the W right in this area here. But if you take a look, we got another W. It's right here. W up and down, and then it looks like we're going to be moving on our way out here. But we also have this wedge or pennant flag, depending upon what terminology you want to use. We've had a couple of days where we look like we have broken out beyond this trend line here, but it's only been a couple of days, so I'm not quite going to say definitively that we have a breakout, but it looks like it's a possibility or the greater probability. Now, we have a little bit of hesitation here. I would imagine that we may head down a little bit, and we'll go here to the MACD to see what happened here. This formation is a lot like this formation here, and here we topped out and then we headed down and then another little plunge. I don't think we're going to do that this time, but it's possible that we'll hesitate here and we might move back down here. How far we go, I'm not quite sure at this time. It's possible that we come down a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. And I do think that we do have a lot more strength here, and you can see that from, say, early February all the way up through into now, we've had a pretty good trend line of strengthening in the histogram. You see the same thing here in the momentum indicator as well. And I think somewhat in the price rate of change, not much, but definitely in this area here. And relative strength, perhaps about the same, a little muddled, but it does show some strengthening. Into the stochastic, again, the same sort of thing. But the stochastic, as you see, we're into the overbought territory. And so such as this time frame here, maybe even this time frame here, I think we're going to stall out a little bit. We may head down. Again, not sure how far we will head down though. And the Williams also shows you that we've gotten to the top here. So it's a time for a little bit of hesitation in the price. So moving back up here, I do see lots of things that show good improvement. I want to see this price stay above this trend line on its way down if we do have a little bit of a few days of a downtrend. But we'll have to take a look at that into next week or so. But for now, it looks like we have the probability of a breakout. But as I said, this is where some problems can occur. We got to head up to this level there as well as the previous level here, but there's lots of things that can go wrong in this whole area here. So let's keep your eyes out watching how we perform here in the next week, and we'll be back at you on an update next Friday. So for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.